guys, we're back.
We are back. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to episode 8 of Behind the MasterMinds, presented by ESCAPETHEROOmers.
Yes, and today we have a special guest from Sleuth Kings.
Sleuth Kings.
Brandon's here.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a second. Let's just let's announce our special winner of the raffle from episode
6, I believe. We're still in episodes now. So I'm trying to
from our good friends at Deadlocked.
Yes, the Cypress. And the winner of that is...
This is a big one. This is a really excellent game. You guys are going to have so much fun with this one. Who's the lucky winner?
Ooh,
Who is it?
It looks like it's Davey Bonte.
Davey Bonte. Oh, congratulations, Davey. You are the winner of the Cypress. You're going to have a wonderful time with this game. Carve out at least 9 hours. No, I'm just kidding. Carve out enough time to play it and you will know exactly what we're talking about because we had a wonderful time playing it. Check out our review on it as well if you want to know what to expect.
Yes, but the more exciting part about today...
Well, can I announce this guy?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's already like in our top 10 list of awesome names because, you know, his name is Brandon. Brandon from the family of Sleuth Kings. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Brandon, what do you do back at Sleuth Kings? How many games has he
Oh my God!
created?
So he has created 43 master detective games, and he has 12 rookie detective games. We played 2, one of each.
Only
We
2
were
out
figuring
of
this out last night. 2, one of each.
55.
Right. We also, when we first came across Sleuth Kings, we played the postcard teaser to whet our appetite before we got to try the bigger games.
Yeah, and prior to that, Brandon was actually a thriller author.
For Lost to the Shadows, which is available on Amazon right now. You guys should check that out.
So we had a reader who was asking this question. He's like, so if it's lost to the shadows, how do we find it? I don't know how to answer that. I'm going to leave that to Brandon.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some research on that one.
Is it available?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is it still available in
I'm sorry,
hard
what's
copies? Is it still available in hard copies or is it Kindle now?
Yeah. You can
okay.
get it hard copy or Kindle.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's because I saw it on Amazon, so.
Also, during this segment or our interview, you'll have a chance to get a copy of that free postcard that we mentioned earlier. Just go to visit their website, sleuthkings.com/free-mystery, and you'll get it in the mail. Definitely.
Yeah. That was how we got addicted to
Yeah.
them in the first place. So they lured us in with that little.
But a simple postcard. It was just like.
That was great.
It's the best. It's the best way to kind of get a feel for what it's like to work with Sullivan, the detective, and so it's people have really liked it, and I mean, like you said, it's free, so there's nothing to really lose, I guess, by signing up for it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you also provided another complimentary game on a digital case, like Case 24, for the period that we're kind of
framed, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually one of my favorites. It was one of the only ones that kind of translated well fully digitally, and so with the corona and everything else that's going on, I was like, yeah, why don't we go ahead and throw this up, give people something to do, and so yeah, that's still up there as well. I think the link is sleuthkings.com/free-gift.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so just change that last word if you want to play frame free-gift. It's scrolling down at the bottom.
Yeah.
We have a message from Brandon Taylor Smith from Escape Adventurer. He's like, you keep saying Brandon, and I'm getting confused. I'm thinking you're talking to me too.
So many Brandons.
There's so
They're
many.
all
We're taking over the world.
Exactly.
All right. We're gonna go into it right away.
Yeah, we
have
got a lot to
today.
cover.
So
Sure.
Our first question is, when was Sleuth Kings established, and how did you go about from writing thrillers to creating puzzle mystery cases?
So we released our first case, it would have been October of 2017, I think it was, because it's coming up on 3 years now. And I started putting it together April of that year, I think, trying to figure out how to make Sullivan work and figuring out how to, integrate puzzles with story and everything else. And it kind of came about A couple different ways. So the first way is I used to also work a corporate job that I hated. And for fun there, I would mess with my boss, and if he wanted to open reports or whatever, I would send it to him, but have the spreadsheet password protected and hide stuff around the office that he had to basically find and then solve some puzzles so that he could get the password. And he hated me, but that was okay. I didn't really care. I had fun.
I'm supposed to make my job easier. Like, what's going on?
Exactly. So that's kind of how I got started with it. And then I had wanted to make some kind of local scavenger hunt thing, but talked to a business advisor about how to get something like that started off the ground.
Okay.
And working with her, we ended up kind of coming to the realization that, no, maybe something that you can send in the mail would be a better avenue to go because you can reach more people that way. And so I ended up quitting my corporate job, which I don't necessarily recommend. I quit that before I'd really started this business, and without necessarily thinking I was going to make a full-time income on this business. But that's kind of a whole nother long story. Anyway, quit that. Was like, well, with it. Why don't we go ahead and we'll try this thing out? And so we started in October, and it's evolved a whole lot since then because people give me their feedback, which is immensely helpful, and I try and evolve it kind of as we go based on what everybody says. And I guess thriller writing ties into that because that's kind of how I learned how to write the mystery crime genre. And so I kind of translated just a whole lot of that over into Sleuth Kings, only the book is pretty violent and dark, as opposed to Sleuth Kings I keep lighthearted and PG, so it's a very different genre, but a lot of the same stuff kind of applies, and so everything just kind of worked together, and I have a blast doing this.
I think timing-wise, though, you made it was a blessing in disguise, so to speak, because you were ahead of the curve. You started this online play-at-home game type of outlet before COVID, and I think most people took advantage and said, "Hey, well, this is perfect, something to do. All I have to do is sign up and get a subscription." Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
And I think by playing these two, it definitely sends that type of pattern that you're trying to create in terms of a detective story from beginning to end, to searching clues and then following the clues and then be able to find out what the final puzzle is, to putting it all together. We definitely felt that from a writing perspective, from how your thought process is, for sure.
I'm glad that came across then. Thank you.
Okay, our second question is, we've played 2 of your games so far, but I'm assuming that these are your newer cases. Has anything changed in the way that you've created the older ones till now? With the newer
yeah, a ton has changed. So in our very first case 1, you would get stuff in the mail, but nothing was labeled with like clue 1, clue 2 like it is now. You would just email Sullivan and say, "Hey, I'm ready to start," and then he would tell you, "Okay, look at this thing, and I need help doing this." And so it was more linear and kind of plot-driven in a way, in that once you solved a puzzle, okay, he would move on to something else, get back to you in a few minutes, tell you where he was at investigation-wise, as opposed to now a lot of that in the moment investigating is done in the investigation report that you receive. So that you don't have to wait on him and email him every answer. It kind of helps speed the gameplay up, and it just kind of makes it a little more fun, I think. So there's that. I learned how to graphic design thanks to this, and so I hope the quality of things has continued to kind of go up and improve. And then with the newest cases you guys played, those are part of a 4-case series, and up until now, I've never really done a series. It's always been episodic, and so you could jump in at any given point, and some of the cases, story-wise, will reference little things like Sullivan's girlfriend, for instance. He meets in, I think, case 11, and she becomes an ongoing character in every case. And so there's little things that if you've been playing for a while, you'll pick up on. But I try to be real careful so that if you're jumping in at, say, case 30, you're not really required to know anything from case 29 or previous. And if there is something you need to know, Sullivan will mention that in the investigation report. But I really wanted to try making an arc, kind of a 4-case intertwined arc for something different, kind of as a change, because it opens up way more story possibilities. And just from a writing perspective, I was really excited, especially about the 2 stories we've got. And I love the time traveler one. It's really my favorite with the rookie. It just opens up so many neat things you can do with leaving off on little cliffhangers and having plot twists, and you can tell much more of a story with a couple case arc, I guess. So all kinds of stuff has changed. Those are kind of the real big things, though.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely touched base in that in the review that I wrote about the organization of your files, which I really loved, because it's like, oh, you have a list of checklists, make sure that everything is in the box. And then after that, you go on to this website. And then if you forgot, I'll have another reminder to tell you to go to this website. It just feels like it's the entire, time that even if you do feel like you might get lost, there's always something there that might help you, go back to the right track.
Yeah, I think you covered all your angles and all the bases just in case, you kind of go off on a tangent and it's like, wait, how did I get here? Something to always bring you back or tie it all together.
Yeah. And then I think also from what you said before about the cliffhanger was also a big thing for us, because that's something that people will be like, oh shoot, now I wonder what happened. And I'm like, I have to
tune in next episode.
Exactly. So those are also great things about the series.
Question number 3: what's the difference between Master Detective and rookie cases?
That's a really good question. So the master cases, that's kind of what we started off with, and it was just Sleuth Kings for about 2 years. That's just all I did was put those together, and I had a lot of requests come through that was like, I really enjoy the gameplay aspect of this, but some of the puzzles are just too difficult for me. I'm a novice puzzler, or I want to do this with my kids and it's just too hard. And so I was like, well, okay, that's totally fair. What I could always do is I could try to put together a simpler case for beginner puzzlers. And so I played with that for a while and finally was able to kind of put together the rookie case. And I hope it kind of comes through that the puzzles they're a little faster, so they're great if you don't have time to sit down for 2 or 3 hours to put into a case. The rookie should take around an hour or so.
Okay.
And the puzzles are supposed to be about right for beginning puzzlers, and it's kind of got it's same characters but totally unrelated stories from Master Detective, so there's not a whole lot of overlap you have to worry about. In terms of, I've had people ask me, so I really want to play all the cases I possibly can. And they started off with the Master, of course, and they're like, if I don't play the rookie, am I going to miss story and miss little hints of things that will be referenced later on in the Master? And I was, absolutely not. I've been really, really careful to make sure that I can reference little things in the rookies that happen in the rookies and little things that happen in the Masters that happen there. But I try to keep them separate, I guess, for all intents and purposes, even plot-wise.
Yeah, I think we definitely felt that with the 2 samplers that you sent us, but the one with the Pets Gone
Doggone Mystery.
Essay, that one we felt like would definitely be very family friendly and also kids friendly, very cute, a little story revolving around pets and the cutie photos and the coloring and the colors. So I think those are things that would attract kids like right away, versus the other one that's a little more challenging. But we actually played it in reverse. We played the challenging one first, just to feel really smart about the one we played. It was much quicker. We're like, yes.
No, we were just warming up. It was like.
So those are really awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So our next question for you. By the way, if any of our listeners have any questions, just feel free to type it in there, and then as we are, chatting, we'll insert them in during the interview. So in terms of like prints, this is something for like game creators, that question for them. How do you know what kind of quantity you want to print out for these games, and then how do you determine like how many that you want to print for each?
That is a great question, and something I've not always been fantastic with. Basically, what I do is I look at how many subscribers do I have right now. And I've done it long enough that I can kind of project, okay, this is approximately, barring any kind of worldwide catastrophic something, which I guess you can't rule out anymore. But typically, I have a rough idea of where I'm going to end for the month. And so I can order based on that. And then I order a little bit more because I sell the pass cases in the archives as well. And so you really just kind of have to get a feel for it as you kind of work in the business, and get a feel for how your subscribers are going to fluctuate. For instance, in the summer, typically you have fewer, and then once it starts getting cold out again, more people want to do stuff inside, so then it starts to go up. And so summer's usually the slow time, and that's totally fine. But you'll get a feel for like I said, your subscriber base, and when it's going to grow, when it's going to shrink. And after doing it for about a year, you'll have a pretty good idea as to what to expect that month. So there's no real set way to know exactly. It's not like, I need to order 50 more each month. It really kind of varies on the time of year and your personal subscriber base.
Right, that makes sense.
Did you see like a spike when COVID hit? Like, did you see a lot more subscribers, a lot more purchases? Like, were you understocked because you didn't prepare for this to happen?
So I didn't see a ton more subscribers. We saw some, but we saw a significant increase in people buying one-off pass cases, because we ship those every Wednesday, as opposed to new subscribers get their case at the beginning of the month. But we keep the archives, we try to keep them fairly well stocked, and so we sold out of some of them, but we still had plenty cases overall for people. So luckily we were still able to kind of meet the needs that everybody ordering had.
Right.
Okay.
There was a dramatic increase
Right.
once everything started.
So assuming that like you sold out of the archive, like one of the stories in the archives or whatnot, like is that it, or will you do any reprints, or is kind of limited edition storyline that's just floating out there?
We do reprints.
I do.
So they'll be out of stock, and then as soon as we can get them up, and sometimes it takes a little while based on how busy we are with everything else, but we will restock everything as much as we can. There are a few cases that are permanently out of stock for a variety of reasons. Like the first 6 are permanently out of stock because the gameplay just changed significantly, starting with case 7, and I don't really want to sell the past cases that don't really represent what we are today.
Right.
And then there's 2 other cases, 14 and 18, that are permanently out of stock. 18 because it had a fortune cookie that I had to bulk order, and those go stale after a year.
Yeah.
And then 14, there was another piece that I can't get anymore. It was a Rubik's Cube specifically designed in a way, and I just can't find a supplier for that specific setup. And so that one's permanently out of stock. But otherwise, I do my best to make sure that I'm not getting stuff that is like, oh no, now I have to basically bulk order something like a fortune cookie that will expire in a year and will only sell, 20 or 30 of the 500 I had to order.
Right. So these are like design elements that you have to think about.
Yeah.
That, so.
We got some questions. So Kara from Escape Adventure wants to know when Sullivan and Celeste are going to have little Sullivans and Celeste running around.
Trilogy. I feel like it's going into like.
You're really pitching for the kids now. It's like kid detectives.
They Sullivan and Celeste, and I think Kara's the biggest. They call them. She and Brandon call it Celeste. Sullivan and Celeste. They just got engaged. At some point, I want to do a wedding case and stuff leading up to that. And I don't really have everything worked out for that yet because I'm gonna let them stay engaged for a little while. I don't know about kids. I'm more worried about the wedding at first, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Get the marriage done first, and then.
Is it gonna be like the Red Wedding, Game of Thrones?
That's
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little too rated R. Krista Jones wants to know, how many subscribers do you currently have? Do you do everything yourself? And you mentioned that you quit before starting, which wasn't what you'd recommend, but are you able to make a reasonable living now doing this? And how would you distinguish Sleuth Kings from some of the other mystery box subscriptions?
Yeah, that's a lot of questions.
Let me tackle these one at a time.
Yeah.
So as far as how many subscribers I have, I think it's around 250 or 300. I don't remember off the top of my head today. It kind of fluctuates. And then, do I do everything myself? So my wife helps me quite a bit, particularly with, she test plays every single case, bless her heart. And she is, at this point, basically a professional editor. And so she edits everything for me too. Otherwise, I'd send it off to somebody who could edit everything for me and who knows how to do commas and everything correctly. And I also have somebody who does the manufacturing for me. So I guess I call it manufacturing, but it's they basically put all of the stuff in the case file and they take care of shipping. We had done that for the first 18 cases, which was a year and a half. And between that and case design and testing and everything else, it just didn't be too much. So we do work with somebody who does that, which is just kind of a game changer. It was just way too overwhelming.
Right.
And then I mentioned I quit before starting, which I wouldn't recommend. I make a reasonable living now. Like I'm not living in a mansion or anything, but I make fairly close to what I was making at my previous job, which.
But doing something you love, obviously.
Exactly. I'm happy with, and I'm in a much better place mentally, which is why I had to quit the the old corporate job. Anyway, was just like I said, it's a long story. I won't really go into that right now, but it was just kind of the right move, even though it's not what I would recommend for everybody. And then how would I distinguish Sleuth Kings from the other mystery box subscriptions? The big thing we've got going for us is the level of interaction that you get with Sullivan is totally different from anything else that, at least as far as I'm aware, that's out there. I know there's new things popping up. It seems like almost weekly anymore. And I haven't been able to keep up on that new stuff as well as I would like over the last 2 or 3 months. But unless something brand new has popped up in the last few months, as far as I'm aware, nobody really offers the email back and forth and talk to a detective to basically advance the case forward, ask for hints and everything else. And that's really the aspect that I'm most excited about with Sleuth Kings and that I'm most proud about being able to put together, because wow, was that a lot of brain work to figure out how to make him work. But now that he does, and I know how to do it, it's great. But I think that's really kind of what distinguishes us from everybody else.
Yeah.
That, I guess the other thing would be...
I think building a game around a character is always very, interesting versus saying, like, one game and then you one off and you're done. But like with characters, you can keep producing interesting stories around it, but mostly also engaging the players is a big, aspect of like trying to keep them, subscribed, which is why subscription based. It's also very important to sort of build that, I would say, connection.
Yeah, so if you have a fan base and they feel tied to the characters, like just like any TV show, it's just like, I associate myself with this and this is the kind of genre or storyline that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, continue on for like a question for just the puzzle creators out there. But any tips or one particular tip that you would give to make their lives a bit easier?
Yeah.
For puzzle creators?
Yeah, like
For
something
people
that
doing it or want to do it.
Yeah, that you since you've been doing it so many years. Like, is there anything that you could share in terms of?
Sure. So I guess I can share probably a couple things, a couple of the biggest things I've learned from doing this. The first thing is I have a big book of different puzzle options that I've kind of compiled from various research, basically reading a lot, playing a lot of different things, and I have a lot of those base things in a binder, and I look through those when I go to create a new case. But I don't try to use just those puzzles. Sometimes I'll try to figure out if there's creative ways I can combine puzzles or give a new spin to something to try and help keep it fresh. And sometimes doing that works, sometimes it doesn't. And you just have to be willing to sometimes take those risks and do your best to have good hints. Because when you can really pull off a kind of a really fresh, new, never before seen puzzle, it's really exciting for you and for anybody who's playing through it. And like I said, sometimes you'll fall on your face with that, and that really sucks. But that's why you have good hints.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that despite always trying to do the absolute best you can do, some cases are going to be better than others.
Right.
And sometimes your puzzles will really land, sometimes you'll be off the mark with a few of them, and that's just kind of the nature of the business. But being too intimidated to try anything is a really quick way for the whole experience to kind of feel stale.
Yeah. I think you need some sort of trial and error.
Yeah, I mean, that aha moment is what players are always looking for in a game, but it's always like a lot more difficult to achieve with experienced players versus, players who haven't really played puzzles before. Then if they see something, they're like, wow, this is really exciting, but maybe the experienced players have already, done this. So you can't really please everyone.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, and that's kind of the other thing is you never ever will please everybody, because I've gotten, and I always really appreciate the feedback that I receive from people, and that's how you really know if your stuff is landing or if you kind of miss the mark. And I've received feedback on the same case, same puzzle, where somebody has been like, I absolutely love that puzzle was brilliant. And then somebody else, I hated that puzzle, I'm canceling my subscription because of that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but you get it from both sides, and that's totally fine, and that's kind of how you know.
That people know your game.
Right. Well, and you can sit back and, okay, what is it about this puzzle that worked really, really well?
Right.
And what is it, especially if people give you detailed feedback, what is it specifically, at least do I think, through this other person about this puzzle? So how can I apply this not only to this type of puzzle, but other puzzles in the future going forward? And you can kind of really learn a lot from examining stuff like that about what works and what doesn't for any kind of puzzle you're going to do. And the best way to learn that stuff and know what's going to work and what's not going to work is just to do it, to listen to people.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, you really just have to do it and have people test it and be willing to kind of put aside your pride and your, well, I think I did really well with this. You have to be able to put that aside and just honestly listen and accept all the feedback that people give you and figure out how you can apply that moving forward.
Right.
That's great.
Well, speaking of amazing puzzle creators, we have Rita Orloff from Post Curious, and she has a question. So you use the same company for production and fulfillment. Would you recommend them?
So I actually, it's one of my family members that I work with. They had kind of needed a secondary job at the same time that I needed somebody desperately to take some stuff off my plate. And so I was able to work out an arrangement with them, which was fantastic. And so she still kind of works for me. I would definitely recommend them, but
But they were for me.
Yeah.
That's basically what it
Sorry.
is. They're cheap labor you can't find.
Yeah.
Well, not really cheap.
Not really cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Hey,
it. I
the
think it's
other
the
way.
opposite way.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's okay. It's an arrangement that kind of works for both of us, and like I said, it was kind of she needed something and I really needed help, so it lined up. So
The trust factor is also very difficult to find when you're trying to find, employees in that aspect. So
Yeah.
having a family member definitely helps.
But I'm sure there's some guilt trips involved there somewhere. Like,
the-
"Dang, I'm gonna talk to your mom if you don't."
Yeah.
there's plenty of headache. There can be sometimes, but no, for the most part, she's great, and kind of the relationship there is great. I'm really lucky that it worked out the way that it did. But yeah.
That's great. All right, well, taking a break, we're going to tell our secret phrase because one of the winners is going to win one of the archive games. from
Yeah, of your
Master or
choice.
Rookie Detectives.
I mean, I'm assuming that it's in stock though, so it has to be in stock.
Whoa.
But let us know of your choice which one you want.
Yeah, there's so many, and they all look really interesting and wonderful. So the secret phrase is "I am the Sleuth King."
I am, or I'm the Sleuth King, however you like. Just say it with the exclamation mark.
Yes, say it with confidence.
So type that below in the comment section. If you're watching this on social media after this is live on YouTube, Instagram, wherever we post this, you are also able to write it in the comment section and enter the raffle for free to gain a really amazing game from Sleuth Kings.
For sure.
Real quick, I want to say I see Rita said she was actually looking for a printer.
Yeah.
I would actually recommend the print shop that I work with. They are, if you guys don't mind that
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
course.
they are bestvaluecopy.com. They do a really nice job printing everything, and they've always been really easy to work with, and they're one of the most affordable options I've been able to find. They're based in New York, so I recommend them if you're looking for a printer.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll add that in the post video
Sure. Give
for
them a
people
shout
to
out.
go check it out.
Yeah. All right. Our next question for you. What is a common mistake you think a creator could make during the puzzle creation that you've learned the hard way, and how would you do it differently today?
There's so many things that can go wrong.
So many
Do you have
mistakes.
time? Yeah.
One I think good example, bad example that I can give is specifically for one case. What I ran into was I had my artwork all done, and it was for a map that you had to cut apart and put together in a new way. And when I had sent it to the printer, and ironically I just recommended the printer, and then this is a printing issue. It's like one of the two issues I've run into with them. So, and I've used them for 2.5 years, so it's not indicative of stuff you'll run into with them.
Right.
Somehow it got flipped. The backside got flipped with the map. And so about 10 people had tried to solve that case after we'd sent it out. And come to find out, when you put the map back together, it no longer led, when you followed the directions, to where it was supposed to lead, because it was a new, different map. And so luckily, given how Sullivan works, I could just kind of jump in there, and I looked at the map. I was like, oh crap, what do I do? Okay, I'll follow the directions on the new map and see what location it goes to, and that's the new answer.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Which ended up, like, it worked, and anybody who worked through it after the initial 10 people who worked through the incorrect one wouldn't ever really even know. Because everything still lined up just fine. It was just a new location. And so my advice would be always double check physical copies, cut everything apart, and triple check and make sure it's going to work. Don't just assume that because your artwork was correct when you sent it in, that the physical copy has not been flipped or turned upside down or something else, and you just didn't notice, because that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
Wow, but that was very, quick thinking on your
Yeah,
end.
great
To be
improv
able to
on the.
catch that and correct that. Not many people are going to be that lucky with the print era. So that's pretty awesome. You want to ask this next question?
Yeah. So after all these years of creating puzzles, do you still have the same passion for it? And is it harder to come up with storylines and different types of puzzles now?
Because you've done like 55.
I still really enjoy doing it. It's a blast, especially now that I'm trying the case arc, so the 4 cases kind of intertwined. That's kind of it gives me something new to chew on as far as writing and plot's concerned, which I really enjoy. Like, that's the way I come at this, is kind of as a writer. And a lot of the documents and things are just the details that you would typically include in your manuscript. So I still, love doing it and love putting it together. Puzzles, yes and no. In some respects, they're easier to do because I can sit down and look at something and be like, okay, I can see how this works. I can see different puzzles I can combine with this, different possibilities, much more readily now, today, than I could, say, 3 years ago. But at the same time, I've also used this same book for going on 3 years, and I've done some other research and added to it, but I need to have a chance to sit down and do some more research and get some new, fresh things to be able to add to it. And so that's one of those things where, yes and no. A lot of the traditional puzzles I'm very acquainted with and have used plenty, and you just have to continuously evolve and continue researching and everything else in order to make sure that you're staying on your game and giving everybody something fresh and new. And that's always a challenge, no matter how long you've done it.
So is your design process to start from the story and then do the puzzles?
So yes and no. What I try to do is I try to integrate the puzzles and the stories kind of at the same time. And so I'll have a theme in mind. And for instance, one of them was a carnival theme. And so I've got this carnival theme in mind, and I know the basic story is that a ring has been stolen from Sullivan's office, and you have to help him figure out where the mafia stashed it at this carnival, because the plots we do are always kind of crazy and off the wall like that, because of course the mafia is going to stash a ring at a carnival. So I'll have that in mind, and then I keep that theme in mind as I look through the puzzles and have them give you answers, because I also have to keep in mind like design aspects and other things. So for instance, if it's carnival themed, I'm not going to have go to the blackjack table necessarily. It'll be more so like, oh, it's at the circus tent, or go to the petting zoo, or different stuff like that. And so I keep both in mind as I'm working through them, because it's really important to me to integrate the puzzles in with the story documents as much as possible. And then once I have the puzzles made, I then have to sit down and figure out, okay, how the heck do I combine all these documents into some kind of coherent story that the detective then finds? And so then I kind of write out the rest of the story and go from there. So it's kind of juggling both at once.
Well, that totally makes sense, because you can't really come up with solutions that's not relevant to the story, so you kind of have to have the answers there already, and then be able to incorporate that into the storyline at the same time.
Right.
So that totally makes sense. Brandon has another question.
Oh yeah, Brandon from Escape Adventurers said, haven't heard from Asuna in a while. Though 2020 has been quite a decade so far, so I could be wrong. Will she be returning? Is Flyer High doing virtual classes now?
She is one of my favorite characters. She's actually a blast to write. She's a Japanese high school girl. I think she's a freshman maybe. And she works with Sullivan sometimes for like school-related cases or some other goofy off-the-wall cases. She was kidnapped by Krampus at one point, who's like the Christmas devil. And yeah, I absolutely want to have another case with her soon.
Sounds like you have a request here for new material.
Yeah, they're probably doing well. She's still on summer break, I guess, right now, but she'll probably be starting the virtual classes before long.
That's true. All right, so you want to ask?
Yeah. Question number 8. Since you have so many game options, if this is a player who has never played any of your games before and is new to puzzling, which case would you recommend for them? And if they have some experience at puzzling, which game would you recommend for that? And what is your top seller right now, and why do you think that is the top seller?
Okay, so for somebody who's new to puzzling, I would recommend one of the rookie cases. That's really the best place to start. And if
but I mean, like, if you had a case in mind, which one would you?
Like any particular
so many.
Gotcha.
Pick one.
I've done so many, I legitimately can't remember what they are.
That's great.
Well, Doggone Mystery was a rookie, right?
What's that?
Doggone Mystery was a rookie, right?
Yeah, that's
a lot of fun.
I
think,
I really do
yeah,
that one.
that definitely have a mix of good, a bunch of different things. The detective, the also something that you could feel could actually happen, like something that feels local, like neighborhood type. So I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but this break I would recommend.
And I appreciate that. And I think I would have to agree too. Especially that's one of the 4-case. It's the first one in the 4-case arc, and that story in particular is one I'm really excited for because it's got kind of a time traveler involved at some point with it, and there's a lot of kind of crazy off-the-wall aspects with it. And like you said, it's the dog. You're trying to find a lost dog in that one.
Yeah.
And I actually had a lot of fun with that one. So yeah, I'd probably recommend that one. And then for Master, if you wanted to start the arc, you certainly could start with that one. I don't remember its title.
Abducted, the one we played.
Yeah, Abducted. That's it. Or my personal favorite there out of the Masters, I really like Case 19. It is a little bit darker than we typically go, and you work with actually a different detective, John Malbone, who is he's more of a hardcore detective than Sullivan's kind of goofy, whereas John is more noir. And he was a lot of fun to write. And that one's about John's brother was murdered, and you have to figure out, you have to bring the mafia down, basically. And so that one is one of my personal favorites. So that might be the one I'd recommend. That or Case 24, which is free up on the website digitally. Those are my 2 favorites.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Case 24, so if I'm just going to type it in the chat box. If you guys go to the website, you can get the free postcard, and you can get framed Case 24, which I believe you said it's
also the links also on our game.
Yeah, mystery-gifts, right? But you can also visit our website, and you'll be able to get that as well.
Yeah. All right, so I feel like we have to wrap up the questions because we don't want to miss Think or Drink. So the last question we have is, are any of your mysteries based on some sort of true event during the lifetime? And also, is there anyone that you have a deeper connection with when you're creating it?
Yeah. Any background story on that
or
all you can share?
Yeah, or all fictitious. I don't know.
So all of the stories are definitely fictitious. They're too goofy to have ever really happened to me. Probably the one that I guess is most meaningful, or with a most meaningful background, though, is actually Case 19, one of my favorites. My wife had wanted to surprise me a year or two ago. I think a year or two ago now. I think a year ago for Christmas. So she spent a month or two putting together a case for me, and that ended up. I was like, this is awesome. I need to share this with people. And so I had to make some tweaks to it puzzle-wise so that like I could send it in the mail. But that ended up evolving into Case 19, which was just really, really cool. And I really appreciated her putting all that time and effort into actually putting this thing together for me, and it was a whole lot of fun to do.
She just wants you to have a little vacation time for your birthday. It was like, you have one less case to
worry about. It's like, you're off for 1 week.
Just a week though. Yeah.
All right.
Last question before we go into this, because I wanted to know what the expected future is for Sleuth King, or if you have any new things in work.
Anything you can share with us or your fans
yeah.
or viewers watching right now?
So I just finished up making the last case for the Master Detective 4K story arc on Monday. So I am fresh off of that right now, and I'll be working on brainstorming what the next thing is going to be. But shipping takes a little bit longer right now, and so I had to basically put all of my time into, I've got to finish this up so that I can get this stuff ordered and it gets to my family member who puts everything together for me on time. And I ordered it as soon as I could, but also as late as it could be, because it'll be to her right at the last second. So I haven't really had a chance to figure out what the next case is going to be. I know at some point I want to do a wedding case with, or lead up to a wedding with Sullivan and Celeste.
Right.
And I do have some ideas for a case. It'll probably deal with a vigilante at some point, because stories like that I always just find really entertaining, and you can do so much with that.
I think Batman definitely could fit into your world just because of the darkness of it. Also, like Sin City,
Right.
The vibe that you have with the noir style definitely can add that character easily into it.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for kind of the possibilities there. I just don't have anything concrete down yet, since I just finished this case up like 9 o'clock at night on Monday.
It's like, I need to wrestle.
You guys should stay tuned. Check out his website and subscribe so you can be notified when new games come out, especially this one he just wrapped up and anything in the near future.
Yes.
But before we get into our special part of this interview, if you see the scrolling special phrase on the bottom of the screen, if you enter "I am the Sleuth King" or "I am the Sleuth King" with an exclamation, I'm just kidding, you don't have to do that. But if you enter it below, you will automatically be entered into the raffle for your choice of one of his cases in the archives.
Yes. Brenda has a suggestion that you should make it John and Solomon's 80s buddy cop.
Buddy cop adventure.
He has so many requests. You should just make a list of his.
I think that would be a blast. You know, that might be absolutely something I do.
Yeah.
So right now we are going to play
Eat or drink.
Take a Drink. What do you have to drink over there?
So normally I'm a bourbon guy, but I'm actually out of bourbon. So I've got some melon, Mr. Boston melon.
Ooh, can you hold that up to the camera? Just so
Yeah.
we can look at that. Oh, okay.
You mix this with some 7-Up or Sprite, and it tastes just like my favorite Japanese drink. I lived in Japan for a little while in college studying abroad. So you mix this and a little bit of Sprite together, and it tastes just like the best drink I've ever had. And soda. So
the last episode when we were interviewing Post Curious with Rita, I was drinking sake. So I think I switched the thing around. I should have been drinking sake for this one. But I'm going a little light today because I actually have to teach in like less than an hour to a bunch of students online. So, but I love this drink. This is one of my favorite drinks, even though it's a fruity drink. It is Schafferhofer, which is grapefruit.
nice.
I love grapefruit and I love the taste of this drink. So I don't care what anyone says about me and fruity drinks. I stand by this drink. I'm actually hoping you get all the answers right so I can take a sip of this.
It's that difficult this time.
This time.
We'll see.
Rita killed me in the last.
Yeah, it was not expecting that. But anyways.
Yeah, so basically we asked Brandon questions about his own game.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's going to be based on just the 201 301 because we played on those.
Okay, so based on 201 Abducted and 301 Doggone Mystery, if he gets them right, I drink. If he gets them wrong, he drinks.
I'm getting my drink ready already.
Okay, there you go. You let us know when you're ready. Can we start asking the question?
Yep, I'm good.
10
Okay.
seconds, and after I
Oh
ask
yeah,
the
let me
question,
bring the timer in. That's the most important part. You have 10 seconds to answer this.
So after I ask the question, then he's gonna press the timer. You got 10 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. So first
Question number one.
What is the husky's name in case 301? Doggone.
I have no idea. Max?
Is there a final answer?
You know, I guess.
He's prepared to drink. No, it was Bart.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what did you say, Matt?
Max? I couldn't remember.
Max?
I've
That's
done a
like
lot.
It's no one dog name. It's like normally you would have probably got it because it's the most common dog name.
I'm thirsty anyway.
Yeah, he's like, I know it's Bart. Let me say Max so I can drink this thing.
All right. Are you ready for
So
a
let
second
me
one?
bring this in and then I'll ask this question.
I'll pull that back.
It's here.
Oh,
So question number 2 for you. Oh yeah.
sorry.
Question number 2 for you is on the story page. What number is written on the purple paw?
Yeah, there's a purple ball.
Oh. Is it P? I have no idea.
It's a number.
Number. We'll give you that. It's a number.
7.
Oh, you
Wow. Wait, I'm getting thirsty up here. All right, we'll let him let that marinate a little bit, and then rewind this clock back and start with question number 3.
This one should be semi.
I think he's gonna get this one.
Okay.
I hope you get this one.
Okay. So on the park flyer, counting the missing dog also, how many total dogs are on there?
Number, not letter.
5.
It was semi-close. It was 8.
Oh. I guess I have to admit, I'll remember plot well enough. I have notes so I can go back and read the plot. I don't remember case to case.
So I'm not gonna let you drink by yourself this one. All right, we're gonna cheers.
Cheers you on.
Cheers.
Because I'm getting thirsty.
Ooh, how is it? How is it?
Great as usual. Would you like a sip?
Yeah, sure.
All right. See, that's
mainly because it's fruity.
and it's delicious.
Oh yeah, that is really refreshing.
All right. So question number 4. Let me bring this back in and 1 o'clock.
Look, he's already done with his drink.
I know he's refilling. You need another can of spray.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. Case 201 abducted. The aliens that enjoy visiting new planets and knowing their inhabitants, what are their names?
Chugatron. Trons? I've got a chug.
It rhymes. We'll give you that. It rhymes.
Okay.
Does the other Brandon want to help?
I know the first part is Chug because my dog Charlie is a Chihuahua pug and I named it after him.
Do any of our viewers want to help him with the second part of this? And it rhymes. Anyone? I'm going to let the timer go. If anyone helps you, then...
Chugga.
I just want to let you know, chug crap. Crap does not rhyme with chug. So just FYI. Chug lug.
Chug lug.
I will help you on this one because you got half right.
Oh, I'm good.
Mm.
Oh, Brandon was like a second late.
Oh, he did come through for you. It just wasn't before the timer.
Yeah.
But thank you for that, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good question. What year did the extraterrestrials secretly invaded us?
1972. 73.
Ah! Yeah!
Yay! Give it up for Brandon. He got one. 100%.
Any meaning to that year at all, or no?
Yeah. Any significance for that?
Nope. Well, I don't. Maybe, but not that I remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
We kind of sensed that this is how it was going to go when he forgot the name of the game before.
We're gonna give you one more chance to, well, not redeem yourself, but just one more chance at another sip, or for me to have another
Bonus
sip.
question.
Bonus question for you. Here we go.
All right, on the town map,
What symbol was on the destination?
cup band.
Oh, that's a couple of rice with our chopsticks.
Chopsticks is a bowl of noodles.
Give it up for Brandon. Great job. All
Is that actually
right.
a restaurant name here?
Cup Bob. It's a spoof off of a restaurant called Cup Bob with a very similar logo.
Ah, is that local to you, or is that somewhere you visited?
It's about 2 minutes down the road from me.
Okay.
So he knew that one.
Yeah.
He's like, anything about food? I got it.
Exactly.
So get over, Brandon. Thank you so much for playing Think or Drink with us. Obviously, we feel like you know your games. There's a lot of games that you got to memorize. So I
Yeah,
mean,
he has way too many.
yeah, this is probably a little bit harder for you.
I used to know them up to about case 20 or so, and then at that point it was just, I've got too many to remember the details. I have my notes, I'll reference those.
I actually have a question for you. So if Doggone Mystery is case 301, it's not consecutive. Like, it's not like you have 300 cases, right, that you've done.
Right, so the rookie, we had started off at case, it was in the 100, so 101 was the first rookie, the first master was 001, but because these were separate case arcs, we had to change the numbering a little bit to make it easier for my family member who kind of mails the stuff out for me. So the master arc is 201 through 204, and the rookie is 301 through 304. So that's it. The numbering kind of got a little goofed up there, but it makes it significantly easier to keep track of kind of on the back end.
Okay.
That means he's eventually going to get there.
Yeah, I'm just worried that when you start reaching the thousands and then you only have 3-digit numbers.
Yeah.
You have to come up with some other symbols. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
it was
you
a lot
so
of fun
much.
today.
Well, thank you. I'm blessed.
Yeah, thank you so much to all the viewers today who, you obviously have fans. You have people that love your games. They're a fan of Sleuth Kings, and even for giving tips to other puzzle creators and designers, thank you for that as well, because I feel like the more that we can share knowledge that you are obviously learning from trial and error, the more awesome games we'll see just come out that will have, you know, same quality. Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
You know.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you.
We hope to meet in person sometime soon and hopefully play a game online together whenever you have time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Whenever you have time, that would be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Take it easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
3 hits left for me to choose. 2 hits left for me to use. 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out. 3 hits left for me to choose. 2 hits left for me to use. 1 hit left for me to move. Time is running out, gotta figure something out.